You can start by topping washer fluid for $19 an hour and end up being the only person in the building allowed to open a six-figure battery pack. At the top, you are signing off high voltage repairs, coaching other technicians, and in strong markets pushing into the low six figures. Level 1. The lot porter with curiosity. You are 19, maybe 20, in a dealership or independent shop that suddenly has two electric crossovers parked beside the usual gas cars. Your actual job is not glamorous. You move cars, rotate tires, check tire pressure, wipe fingerprints off screens, and get sent to fetch parts. You think electric vehicles are basically laptops on wheels. The older technicians joke that they have no soul. One of them also refuses to touch orange cables, which tells you this joke is covering fear. Your first real tool might be a cheap flashlight and a basic socket set that costs less than one dinner out. Your first paycheck is small enough that you still live like a student, but you start noticing something. The vehicles nobody wants to diagnose keep getting pushed to the corner. A customer complaint about charging slowly, a warning light after a minor collision, a car that updates overnight and wakes up angry. Those jobs sit. Then one afternoon, a mentor lets you stand back while he performs a high voltage disable procedure. Key off, wait, verify, gloves, meter, no guessing. The room gets quiet in a way a normal brake job never does. You realize this trade is splitting in two. The people who can safely touch the future and the people who cannot. That question starts following you home. Level 2. The basic service technician. Now you are in uniform, on flat rate or hourly depending on the shop, making roughly $45,000 to $55,000 a year if the work is steady. You can do cabin filters, brake fluid services, coolant checks on battery thermal systems, software updates, pre-delivery inspections, and tire work without someone hovering over you. You also learn the first ugly truth about electric vehicles. They do not forgive sloppy habits. You cannot just poke around. You cannot just see what happens. Orange means stop, verify, and follow procedure. You complete your first high voltage awareness class through a manufacturer program, community college, or aftermarket training provider. It might be one day, it might be several evenings. The glamorous part is exactly zero. You sit through lockout procedures, arc flash risk, insulated tool rules, and battery thermal runaway case studies that make your stomach tighten. Then comes the first humiliation. You skip a step in a routine software update, or you fail to document a battery state of charge correctly, and now the car will not finish calibration. The service advisor is waiting. The customer is calling. The lead technician fixes it in 12 quiet minutes and does not raise his voice, which is worse. You learn that in this world, being careless with paperwork can waste as much money as being careless with a wrench. Your tool cart changes too. You add an insulated wrench set, a better digital multimeter, face shield, voltage-rated gloves with leather protectors, and a storage bag so those gloves do not get trashed under oily junk. You are still not the hero, but when the next electric car rolls in, people stop laughing and start looking at you. Level 3. The high voltage apprentice. This is where the job stops being car stuff plus electricity and becomes its own trade. You are usually in your early 20s or a few years into the shop. Your pay bumps into the mid-50s or low 60s if your market is healthy and your shop actually values the skill. Some do, some absolutely do not. That becomes part of your education too. You are now allowed into the controlled part of the repair process under supervision. You perform power down procedures yourself. You verify zero potential. You remove service disconnects. You inspect coolant intrusion around battery components. Look for crash damage that reach pack enclosures, and read isolation fault codes that sound simple until you try to prove which section is leaking where. This is the level where you discover software is not a side dish. It is half the meal. You are carrying a laptop or a manufacturer tablet more than you expected. You run guided diagnostics, check firmware versions, review freeze frame data, and learn that a symptom on the dash can begin in a charger, a control module, a temperature sensor, a corroded connector, or a failed communication line. Fewer moving parts does not mean simpler. It means the problem has become invisible. You also meet your first rival, not an enemy. Just another young technician who learns fast and wants the same scarce training seats. There may be only one slot for the next manufacturer certification. One person gets flown to a regional center. One person stays behind doing tire rotations. So you start staying late. You read service manuals at home. You watch teardown videos. You become the person who actually enjoys wiring diagrams, which is either impressive or a cry for help. The door to the next level opens when someone trusts you with diagnosis, not just procedure. Level 4, the diagnostic technician. This is where your reputation starts. A vehicle arrives on a flatbed after 2 shops gave up. It charges on alternating current but not on direct current fast charging. Or it throws an intermittent isolation fault only after rain. or the heat pump quits in winter and drains the battery trying to keep the cabin warm. Now, people are not asking whether you can follow steps. They are asking whether you can think. Your pay can move into roughly $60,000 to $75,000 here, sometimes more with bonuses, over time, or a strong dealer pay plan. You finally own tools that feel expensive on purpose: an insulation resistance tester, a current clamp, better scan access, a subscription to service information that eats money every month, maybe even an oscilloscope if your shop is modern enough or you are obsessive enough to buy one yourself. The hard lesson is that diagnosis is emotional labor. Customers do not care that the fault is rare, or that the charger handshake failed 3 layers deep in a communication tree, or that intermittent issues are the devil's favorite hobby. They want the car back. Service advisors want estimated hours. Warranty wants documentation. You are caught between engineering reality and retail impatience. Then comes the dangerous lesson. You see a damaged battery pack from a collision or road strike. Maybe there is swelling. Maybe there is odor. Maybe thermal cameras come out. Suddenly, this is not just fixing a car. This is scene control, quarantine distance, manufacturer instructions, fire response planning. Battery thermal runaway is rare compared with how much people talk about it, but the risk is real enough that no serious technician treats it casually. You learn respect without superstition. You stop seeing yourself as a mechanic in the old sense. You are becoming a systems technician. That is exactly why the next step pays more. Level 5, the certified specialist. This is the badge level. You pass serious credentials. In the United States, that can mean manufacturer electric vehicle certificates, and often the automotive service excellence light duty hybrid and electric vehicle specialist exam if your shop values it. Some programs need renewal every few years because the technology keeps moving. That part annoys everybody until a new platform shows up and proves why it matters. Now you are one of the few people in your area who can sign into the right system, follow the right repair path, and defend the work if warranty or management asks questions later. Industry sources have noted that only a small fraction of technicians hold specialized electric vehicle certification, which is exactly why your phone starts ringing more. This is the level where the pay gap becomes obvious. Electric vehicle technicians can earn notably more than general automotive technicians, and in a good market, you may be landing around $70,000 to $85,000, sometimes higher. The scene here is not glamorous either. It is you in a bay at 7:15 in the morning, coffee going cold, reading a 50-page service bulletin because a drive unit noise could require software, mounts, bearings, or a full replacement depending on the exact build date. Precision becomes status. You write cleaner stories. You document better test results. You stop saying, probably. This is also where people start leaning on you too hard. Every weird problem comes your way. Every advisor promises the customer you can figure it out. Every comeback smells like your problem even when it is not. The younger techs ask for help because you were the one who actually bothered to learn. Your pride loves this. Your energy does not. So the next door opens in one of two directions. You either become the person who handles the hardest technical cases or the person who builds a whole operation around them. Level 6, the battery and driveline closer. This is the deep end. You are opening packs, replacing modules when the procedure allows it, validating repairs, handling drive unit issues, tracing cooling system faults through plates, pumps, valves, and sensors, and doing work that can make a shop thousands in one ticket or bury it in liability if done wrong. The invoices get bigger. The silence around the bay gets deeper. Your pay is now often in the $80,000 to $95,000 range, and in the expensive markets, fleet operations, or premium brands, you may cross into six figures with overtime or team lead responsibilities. At this level, your name means something. Dispatch gives you the ugly jobs, first because ugly jobs are where money and risk live together. The hard truth is that your body is still doing shop work while your brain is doing engineering triage. You may spend all morning inside a battery cooling issue, all afternoon on a no-start communication fault, and then lose your evening to a customer vehicle that must be made safe before anyone can go home. You miss dinners, you answer texts on weekends, you get very good at explaining complex danger to people who only hear, "Is it done yet?" But you also become useful in a way that feels rare. A fleet manager with electric vans trusts you. A collision center calls because they do not want to guess around high voltage damage. A roadside incident gets towed in and everyone backs away until you arrive. You are no longer just repairing cars, you are restoring confidence after expensive confusion. That is exactly why management starts seeing you as more than a technician. Level 7, the shop leader field specialist. Now your work forks. In one version, you become the electric vehicle lead inside a dealership or large independent shop. In the other, you move into field service for charging equipment, fleets, or regional technical support. Either way, your value is no longer measured only by the cars you touch. It is measured by the people and downtime you control. If you stay in the shop, you are training apprentices, checking lockout habits, controlling who is authorized for high voltage work, and deciding when a vehicle is safe to move, store, or escalate. If you go field side, you might be driving to depots, transit yards, delivery fleets, or direct current fast charging sites with a laptop, meter, insulated kit, and too many phone calls. The scenery changes from service bay concrete to fenced utility pads and parking lots full of dead chargers. Compensation here can sit from $90,000 to $110,000 or more, depending on region, employer, travel, per diem, and overtime. The title may sound fancy, but the daily experience is still problem-solving under pressure. A charger offline can idle an entire route. A municipal fleet does not care that the replacement part is back-ordered. They care that the buses leave at dawn. You also learn politics. The old-school gas and diesel veterans may still roll their eyes until they need your help. Sales departments oversell range. Customers misunderstand charging. Managers want throughput. Safety wants perfection. You become the translator between all of them. And then you notice one more gap in the market. Plenty of people can do routine electric vehicle service now. Far fewer can build a profitable operation around the hardest problems. Level 8, the operator. This is the endgame most outsiders never picture. You are not just a top technician anymore. You are building the lane, the mobile unit, the training program, or the specialist shop. Maybe you open an independent electric vehicle service business in a metro area where dealers are backed up for weeks. Maybe you run a mobile diagnostic and fleet support service. Maybe you specialize in post-collision battery assessments, charging faults, or out-of-warranty electric vehicles nobody else wants. Now the numbers get bigger and meaner. Rent, insurance, high-voltage safety gear, diagnostic subscriptions, lift capacity, battery handling equipment, fire-rated storage protocols if applicable, training budget, workers' compensation. One mistake can eat a month. One good commercial contract can carry a quarter. Your personal income might still land around $100,000 to $150,000 at first, but the real play is building a team and recurring service relationships. The scene is different now. You are not first under the hood. You are first on the phone at 6 in the morning when a fleet has 6 vans down. You are reviewing whether a technician followed battery quarantine procedure. You are approving $10,000 in equipment because the old meter is no longer enough for the platforms you service. You are deciding which manufacturer ecosystems are worth buying into and which ones are a trap. This level costs something. The thing that got you here was loving the puzzle. The thing that keeps the business alive is process, hiring, training, documentation, customer management, refusing dangerous work when someone wants a miracle. You still get pulled into the occasional nightmare diagnostic because deep down you enjoy it. But mostly, you are building a place where high voltage work is done correctly when the rest of the market is still improvising. And that is the final twist of the ladder. You got into this because electric vehicles look new. You stay because scarcity pays. Final beat. The first time you touched this world, it was with a cheap flashlight while somebody else handled the orange cable. Years later, your gloves are date checked, your tool cart is worth more than your first car, and a whole shop goes quiet when you say a battery pack is safe to open. The money is better. The status is real. So is the cost. You spent years learning that the future is not clean or effortless. It is expensive, procedural, software heavy, and a little lonely. But if there are really tens of millions more electric vehicles coming, the technician who can make them safe and drivable is not a side character anymore. You are the scarce one everyone was laughing at right before they needed you.